Hello, this is Jack from Fluency.com. Welcome to this English lesson where I'm going to tell you the story of our camping trip to Spain so that you can learn new words and phrases in a fun way, hopefully, and also so that you can get some good listening practice. So in 2010, my wife and I decided to move to America. And we had been living in Spain for 2 years. So we decided to say goodbye to Spain by taking this amazing camping trip. So we packed up all of our things, including our dog, into this blue rental car and drove from Valencia to Salamanca. We had never been there before. We had heard great things. So we spent the night there and part of the next day. Now, one thing is this, the tent that we had was tiny and I didn't really fit into it. So that was uncomfortable, and it also got really cold at night. And if you've been camping without a good sleeping bag when it gets cold, you'll know how miserable this can be. So we didn't sleep much on this trip, but we had so much fun. And you don't really remember the bad parts of a trip anyway. The first morning in Salamanca was great. It was very relaxing. And we used our camping stove to make some tea. We really enjoyed using this throughout our trip. But we had some tea, we went to the main plaza, got some coffee. Then we had a walk around the old town and the cathedral. Salamanca is beautiful and it was really quiet that morning. So we had the streets to ourselves and we took our dog with us too. He really enjoyed it. There were a lot of things to sniff. Anyway, after lunch, we made our way to Asturias. Now, this is where we stayed in a beautiful valley. And we took this amazing hike, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But we had a bit of a problem getting there. I took a right turn onto a very narrow road. And Kate said, I don't think this is the right road, but I'm quite stubborn. So I said, well, let's go a little bit more and see what happens. But what happened was, this road wasn't a road. It was just this farm track. And the stone walls got closer and closer together until I thought the car was going to get stuck. We couldn't go any further, so I had to reverse backwards. And reversing backwards downhill when you are very close to two stone walls is very difficult. I think it took me about half an hour in total to get out of that mess. But luckily I did it without scratching the car and we found the campsite. Like I said, this campsite was in this beautiful valley. And the next day we took a long hike to one of the lakes. And along the hike, you saw all these different huts. And these are the huts that farmers use when they bring their cattle from their farms to graze the fields up in the mountains. The campsite also told us to watch out for bears, but fortunately or unfortunately, we didn't see any. We then spent some time swimming in the lake, we made some lunch, we hiked back to our tent. We then packed up our tent and went to the next stop, which again was in Asturias. And we had heard about this hike because we were actually using this guidebook for most of the recommendations, and it talked about this hike. And it said, what you can do is this, you can hike one way, get to the village on the other side, and then get a taxi back to the camping site or back to the start of the hike. So that's what we decided to do. And along the hike, we saw these mountain goats. And I took this great picture of a goat inside this tunnel looking at people like it's going to pounce on them. There was beautiful scenery along the hike too. And then we got to the end and ordered some beers at this pub, sat out on the patio and thought, this is so relaxing. I'm glad we're taking a taxi home because we can just enjoy this moment for a little while longer. But then we asked about taxis and they quoted us 130 euros to get back to the campsite. And the reason why it was so expensive is because they have to drive all the way around the mountain. They can't just go directly back along that hike. And the road that takes you back to the campsite is a long way. It takes a long time to get there. So I said to Kate, we have to just go back now. We have to hike it because we can't spend that amount of money on a taxi. So we quickly finished our beers, we got our dog, our poor dog, and we hiked back as quickly as possible. We managed to get there just before sunset, but our dog was exhausted after hiking that long. And the next day, it took him a little while to get up and out of the tent, but he soon got moving again. We then moved on to Cantabria, found a beach, spent a little bit of time there. We got a menu of the day, where I've never eaten so much in my life. And then we stumbled upon this festival. And in Spain, they have festivals all the time, especially in the summer. And each festival seems to be quite unique. And this one was no exception. It was a lot of fun, and we spent a few hours enjoying this festival. We then drove to Bilbao. Now, Bilbao was a place where we lived the first year in Spain, and we had missed it. Although we enjoyed the weather in Valencia, we still had missed Bilbao because we had so much fun there. And we went back to some great places that we always went to. Things like the cider house, where you get amazing meat and you can drink cider there. And we met up with some friends too, people that we knew from our time in Bilbao. And then we went to meet my parents on the border of Spain and France. We dropped off the rental car, moved all of our things into their car, including Lyle, and then drove to their house in France. And that's where we spent the next 2 or 3 months before flying to America. So that is a story of our camping trip in Spain. I hope you have enjoyed this, and I hope you have learned some new words and phrases too. I'll leave all the key phrases in the description. And what I want to know is, when was the last time you went camping, and where did you go? When was the last time you went camping and where did you go? And maybe tell us a little bit about this too. Again, my name is Jack from tofluency.com. It's been a pleasure having you here today. And if you have found this useful, then please share it with your friends. Speak to you all soon. Bye for now.